You can see Frozen, and here are the picks and bans. It's going to be Shaman, Rogue, Paladin for Frozen with his Mage band. And then that's actually Pilou. That's not Amnesiac. Sorry for that little mix-up. It's Shaman, Paladin, Mage for Pilou, and then the Druid band. So I'm actually a little bit surprised to see both Shamans remaining unbanned here, since Shaman was the most prevalent band at Valencia by far.
And also, again, looking at the stats you referred to earlier, I believe Shaman was the deck in the first couple of rounds with the highest win rate. It was somewhere around 68%. Like, it was something like really high. There were quite a few classes that I looked at that had negative win rates. I think Mage was exactly 50-50.
Okay.
Warrior was slightly positive. But yeah, Shaman really taking it away. I'm surprised these guys are letting each other Shaman do their thing.
Well, I would guess that's likely because most of the Shamans have been banned, and the ones that have been left unbanned have been getting a serious amount of wins. But getting into game number one, Frozen is a fantastic Rogue player, so it doesn't surprise me for a second to see him, even after the Quest Rogue nerf, bringing a Miracle build of Rogue. And then Pilou is going to be on an aggressive Murloc Paladin, something that I'm sure we've all seen time and time again.
Yep, and this is one heck of a start that Pilou's got here. It's going to be a little bit tricky for Frozen to keep up with this. Pilou, if he wants to, turn one could just be Grimescale Chum, coin Grimescale Chum into turn two a Rockpool Hunter buff. And that seems pretty solid. It's up to the Miracle Rogue to play as defensively as possible. Frozen hoping to get good use out of Fan of Knives. SI7 Agent being another key card here, but that Arcane Giant, Frozen's going to be pretty lucky if he gets the chance to put that down, I think. Miracle
Rogue is a very hit or miss deck. It's very high roll. If you're able to get an incredible start and roll into Gadgets and Auctioneer plus prep, counterfeit coin, hallucination shenanigans, there's just about nothing that Miracle Rogue can't beat.
Right.
But Miracle Rogue does have a significant downfall, and it's aggressive decks. Miracle Rogue doesn't usually have taunts, it doesn't have any heal in the build, so Pirate Warrior, for instance, Secret Mage, and aggressive Paladin builds can give it a serious amount of trouble. Now, we do see the Spike Ridge Steed off of the hallucination for Frozen, so he does have some taunt going into the later turns, but Pilou is going to have such an aggressive start that Frozen will have to remove each and every one of these minions before he's able to even stick one of his own and then use the Spike Ridge Steed. Well,
Hallucination is one of those cards which does allow the Miracle Rogue to pick up a little bit of extra percentage points against these aggressive decks that are so favored. Hallucination could pick up an Ali Armorsmith against a Pirate Warrior. It can pick up, as you say, a Spike Ridge Steed against the Paladin. It can do these things. It's still going to be really, really tricky for Frozen, though. When you think back to the old days of Rogue versus mid-range Control Paladin, where Rogue was considered heavily favored, that is just not the case anymore.
Paladin was trash.
In those, well, I'm thinking like the Muster for Battle, Quartermaster days.
Okay, yeah.
When you think of Oil Rogue versus, I know I'm thinking way back into the
I was
first...
thinking like way back Paladin when nobody played Paladin. But,
I'm not thinking that far back. I'm thinking, GVG time, Blackbrook Mountain, before the first standard format year. Oil Rogue just beat mid-range Paladin. Mid-range Paladin was one of the best decks then.
Trust me, Falcone. I know a lot about that Paladin.
You know a lot about that Paladin?
I know a lot about that
You know a lot
Paladin.
about Secret Paladin, don't you, Cora?
A thing or two, maybe. I don't know.
You do know.
I don't know. Do I?
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
I deny everything.
Eviscerate and Weapon are having to deal with that Grimescale Chum. What is happening this game?
One backstab just turns this hand around for Frozen. Means that he's able to remove minions, finally stick something, and then hopefully he can spiral things from there. But if Pilou's able to stick this Finja and then get off a big Megasaur, there's not really a comeback mechanic for Rogue in this deck.
It's all about the 0 mana spells for Frozen, isn't it? Backstab, as you say. Preparation would be another good one. Prep, Fan of Knives, SI7 Agent is a pretty nice combo, though not quite as good as the Backstab. And that Secret is going to be a little bit frustrating as Frozen has to try and feel out, work out what it is. Redemption means that he's going to have to deal with one of these minions twice. But this is where the prep could come in handy. Imagine prep SI7 Agent, deal with the 2/2, it comes back to life. Then you Fan of Knives. That's one way of doing it.
Sharazen's a great value card, but you will need 4 cards played on the same turn to be able to return it from its dormant state. And looking at the current state of Frozen's hand, that is just not going to be possible.
Pretty heavy.
It's going to be +1/+1 here.
It's a pretty heavy hand. 3/3 going to trade nicely into Sharazan there to prevent it from trading into the 4/5. Or are we just jamming face? No, we're just jamming face. My apologies.
Frozen's at 10.
Frozen has 10 health left.
Pilou has
and there's the backstab.
A redemption, so one of these minions needs to be killed twice. Okay, is there anything that Frozen can do here?
Okay, so he's got the ability to backstab, he can play the Valspine Slayer, and he can trade Sherazin into something. So trading Sherazin into maybe the Gentle Megasaur first, or the Rockpool Hunter, then backstabbing it when it gets brought back to life, and then Valspine Slayering the other big minion, looks like it may be the best way of working this turn out.
That would leave...
Would leave just the Hydrologist.
Left.
Yeah.
You can also run into the Megasaur, backstab, and Fan of Knives, but that would leave the larger minion on the board.
Yeah,
so yeah, this does look like...
Oh, wait.
You know, they come back damaged, Dan.
Ah, of course.
Yeah, so you can't backstab
I'm thinking it comes back as an undamaged minion with 1 health, but no, you're right, huh? That's the problem.
So backstab Fan of Knives now, or you can backstab SI7 Agent the Megasaur and leave 5 on board.
Yeah, I think it's your play. I think it's the Fan of Knives.
You're not dead to True Silver that way.
He also gets to draw another card that way.
I think it's the SI. And then you can hero power down the Rockpool Hunter and leave the 3/3, and you're at 8. It's scary, but you're not dead to True Silver on this board. And Spike Ridge Steed can't come out just yet.
Scary is definitely a word I'd use to describe it. Frozen needs that Spike Ridge Steed to stick to something. He needs this SI7 Agent to survive, so he's going to be hoping that Pilou continues to just smack the face, and he's doing it.
He's going to go for it, which means that Frozen can play this Spike Ridge Steed on the SI7.
Is this a comeback point? Oh, it's just an Eater of Secrets picked up from Frozen.
Okay.
Just got to mention that one briefly.
It gives you a better matchup against Mage, and also... yeah, helps out a little bit against Paladin.
Mage
never
not quite as dominant. Mage not quite as dominant as it used to be, though, is it? Still very popular.
Yeah,
but
we're seeing a good amount of Mage.
Okay.
But Eater of Secrets has just always been quite a niche tech card that really doesn't do much against anything else. Whereas like weapon removal is so versatile that it's almost difficult to. To justify Eater of Secrets.
Preparation, let's see. So we prep Fan of Knives, draw a card, see what we get. Valspine Slayer, once again, playable. Stegodon can get rid of Rockpool Hunter pretty nicely. There's Gadget Stand Auction here. All right, maybe Frozen is picking up some steam now. It looks like he is going to have time, probably, to play the Arcane Giant this game, in spite of what I said right at the beginning. He's holding on. Sherazin frustratingly being 1 card away from reviving itself.
Played a couple games of Miracle Rogue over the last few days, and it seems like that's always the situation you're in with Sherazin. You play 3 cards, and you're like 1 mana off from being able to play the 4th, but it's such a good card if you can get it to work, but you need Gadgets in to go off for that to happen.
Get them to buff
Blizzard, dear Blizzard,
make it
you
3.
nerfed Quest Rogue. What about Sherazin?
Make it 3, not 4. Do it the other way around to what you did to Quest Rogue. There you go.
Nah, I've been playing wacky Jade Elemental Rogues. Never conform.
Never conform, indeed. Oh, look, there's an SI7 Agent.
Unless it's Edwin Van Cleef, then...
SI7 Agent? That's the wrong 3 job. Edwin Van Cleef, exactly. Unfortunately, Sherazin, once again, 1 proc away from coming back to life. And now, the double Murloc War Leader is going to buff up the Valfin Inquisitor and actually just give Pilou lethal.
Gonna end the game there.
Wow.
Well... Frozen seemed like he was close to being able to pull it back, but at the end of the day, even if you manage to hallucinate some taunts from the Paladin, the Rogue still doesn't have any life gain. So he stabilized, but just a little bit too low. Any more turns there, and I think Frozen would have been able to take it. Pilou just didn't have that many resources that were that useful yet. He had a lot of smaller Murlocs. Gentle Megasaur, maybe with Poisonous, or plus attack or Wind Fury could have gotten the job done, but I think Pilou's very happy that he picked up that second War Leader when he did.
I don't know what to say, Cora. 1 mana Murlocs. They do their thing. They get buffed a little bit, turn into 5 attack minions, and just crush Frozen right down. But that was only the first game of this series. Pilou going to feel very good after getting off to a strong start. He gets to play the aggro Murloc Paladin deck 1 more time, but he's going to be up against Frozen playing the token Shaman, which we were both surprised wasn't banned.
Shaman is so fantastic against Paladin. Devolve ignores stat buffs. It doesn't care about your stat buffs. It's going to turn all of your 1-drops into wisps. And then you can Maelstrom Portal away. It's just the most effective counter to Paladin right now.
I did refer to this as Token Shaman a moment ago. I might just have to eat my words because Blood Mage Thalnos definitely isn't common in this deck. And Jade Spirit has seen play. The other two cards, Maelstrom Portal and Manatide Totem, they are in all builds of Shaman. But I have a feeling, because of that Thanos, it might actually be something different. Harrison Jones, also not used in Token Shaman. You can take it into anything, but I'd be very, very suspicious now.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a mid-range Jade Elemental build, even though Jade Spirit is the only Elemental we're seeing in hand so far. Because it is an Elemental now, Servant of Kalamos can net additional Jade Spirits, or of course just Kalamos the Primal Lord, which is an incredibly strong card, but hasn't sort of had its day in the sun yet. But with the change to Jade Spirit to an Elemental, now Jade Elemental decks have that much more steam. Right. Whereas before, they were really reliant on a great string of draws. You needed to plan very far ahead of time to have the Elementals played on the turns that you needed them. Jade Spirit just makes everything so much easier. Yeah,
it's quite the surprise little buff to the card. Nobody was expecting it when the Quest Rogue nerf happened, but now...
I think they were just trying to appease us. They were like, okay, Quest Rogue got nerfed, but don't worry about that. Buffing? Because you can play with Jades now.
I don't know how many people buffing Jade cards appeases. Maybe just Lorindo. Definitely makes him feel good. He loves the archetype. But now, okay, hang on a moment. Let's slow down. There is a N'Zoth the Corruptor there in Frozen's hand, ready to go. Well, a little bit mana short, not quite ready to go just yet.
This is awesome. N'Zoth is one of my favorite cards in the whole game, just because you build a deck around N'Zoth, and it creates such interesting opportunities that you never had before the card was available. So may just be White Eyes in this deck, I'm sure, maybe a copy of Cairn, and then N'Zoth is going to be like a hard finisher. So this is looking more and more like a significantly more controlling Shaman than even after we saw the Jade Spirit and the Harrison, I anticipated it to be. And that's great for Frozen, because if he's able to just run Pilou out of the cards in hand, and Pilou doesn't have reload in the form of Curator or Divine Favor if he's running it, then Frozen can just control this game and shut him down.
Shaman can be a very good anti-aggro tool. Blood Mage Thanos and Maelstrom Portal in itself is very good at clearing up wide, aggressive boards. There's the healing that we see in the form of Jinyu Water Speaker and a lot of taunts. White Eyes is a Death Rattle taunt, for example. Thing from Below is they'll come back if Spirit Echo's played on them as the second Thing from Below right there. So Frozen's going to be in a good spot as long as he can stem this early tide of aggression. And Pilou, he does have a lot of early aggression here. Finja, next turn, going to be able to just trade into the 2-2 unless Frozen puts up a big taunt to stop it. No way of Frozen removing Finja just yet. No Devolve in the hand. Yeah, Pilou going to get this off, and now Murloc Warleader makes this board seem even stronger.
It's good to see you.
Well, you can't actually... The Warleader means that the Thing from Below dies from the Rockpool Hunter, and then the Finja doesn't proc. Thing is, though, the cards that Finja pulls in this deck are kind of subpar. It's not the same value that we were seeing when you just were running the Finja 5, and you were guaranteed Warleaders or Bluegills.
But when they're all getting buffed by a Murloc Warleader that's already on the board, and then the Cold Light Seer would have come down as well and buffed it up as well. I don't know, maybe Pilou would have been better off wasting the Rockpool Hunter, trading that in first, so that, yeah, okay, sure, he sacrifices it for no reason, but then you get the Finja proc. Maybe that would have worked out better. Pilou obviously decided this is the way to go. Keeps the Finja stealthed, importantly. He could have done a lot of damage with it there and then, but he decided, nope, I need to get that proc later. Murloc Warleader being dealt with by the Jade Lightning. Okay, Spike Rich Steed, though, one of the key cards. One of the other cards that's very, very weak to Devolve. See what Murlocs get pulled out. There should still be a Murloc Warleader lurking somewhere in this deck.
Yeah, but there's also Vilefin Inquisitors, Grimscale Chums.
A Murloc Tidecaller, that's not bad. It gets the buff because technically this one was summoned just before the Rockpool Hunter.
So I was saying that Frozen has all the time in the world to control the board, but not if Pilou's board controls him to death first. Frozen needs to pick up Devolve plus a huge Maelstrom Portal here, and that's not going to be it. Is there any way he can survive this? I'm going to go ahead and say no.
That's it. Yep. Frozen also decided there is no way he can survive this. going to just take, Pilou just going to take the win. Now he's leading 2-0. Again, Frozen queued into his Shaman, believing that would be the deck of his 2 remaining decks that's favored against the Paladin. It lost. We might be about to see the second aggro sweep 3-0 in a row.
Oh dear, you know what? I will say, after some of the delays we've had and the longer rounds, a couple of 3-0s feels maybe a little bit refreshing. I know the players are probably getting a little bit antsy
Cora,
with all the waiting they've been doing. I know,
Come
Dan.
on.
I'm
you
happy
could do
to be
some
here.
3-2s.
But these guys look tired.
They do look tired.
You know what? 3-0s, they're interesting, especially in this case because Pilou is very clearly the underdog in this match.
The thing is, we get frustrated with the delays, of course. You guys watching at home get frustrated with the delays, of course, but for the players, it's even worse because you think they have to stay here, they have to be turned on, they have to be completely tuned in to what's going on. It's really hard for them.
All right, well, Frozen's going to try to put a stop to Pilou's 3-0 plans with his own N'Zoth Control Paladin variant. Thing is, N'Zoth Paladin, if you can get Doomsayer early on and then string together a quality Pyromancer or a quality Consecration, can deal with aggressive decks reasonably well. But we've seen Pilou absolutely destroy everything that Frozen has tried to do in this match.
I mean, speaking of Pilou destroying Frozen with Murlocs, look at that Murloc Tidecaller. Again, 1-mana Murlocs, as I said to you earlier, just getting buffed astronomically by the Murloc War Leader there. And Rockpool Hunter's there to make it even bigger. Yeah, Frozen's obviously going to use this to deal with the Murloc War Leader, but that Murloc Tidecaller is just causing more and more problems. This turn, Pilou can play 2-mana Murloc, Coin, Cold Light Seer, buffs up everything. And most of these cards are even going to be out of range of the True Silver Champion. This is completely absurd.
This is kind of ridiculous.
What is it with Frozen and N'Zoth today?
You know what? It's not bad. We're seeing a lot of aggression in the meta right now, but control decks have new life because Quest Rogue was nerfed. So you do have the ability to play heavy control decks and just win games because your opponent can't do anything, really. But as we're seeing here, they do have some flaws and they can't always deal with early aggression. Frozen's doing an all right job here, though. He still needs to pick up some form of board clear, but Sunkeeper Tarim can be pseudo board clear in this case.
And it's a taunt.
And
right?
it's a taunt.
Vitally, is it a good enough taunt? The fact that he's going to be buffing some of Pilou's cards. And the problem is, if Pilou now does what it looks like he's going to do, which is play the Hydrologist, play the Murloc, sorry, the Vilefin Inquisitor and Hero Power, then it's only, the Tarim is only going to get worse and worse for Frozen. I think that's what Pilou has to do. He has to go wide. He has to acknowledge that, hey, turn 6 is the Sunkeeper Tarim turn. How do I play around that? I'll just put a bunch of cheap minions on the board, which only benefit from the Tarim.
Plus, this is just an 8 damage Murloc. You want to get rid of Kodo, however, to ensure that Tarim doesn't get any sort of value, because now it's just specifically bad. So this needed to be Consecration or Wild Pyromancer off the top for Frozen. Hydrologist just isn't going to do it. Stonehill Defender maybe can find Wicker Flame Burn Bristle. Maybe that can give Frozen another turn.
Okay, that's fine as well. It's a 3-mana taunt that's going to stop some damage. I'm trying to think of a way that Frozen can come back here, but it looks like we're just about to watch the end of what will be the second aggro deck sweep in a row. First, Amnesiac, the young savage himself, and now Pilou picking up where Amnesiac left off.
It's not over yet. Steed comes down. Minions are going to get killed, but Pilou doesn't have lethal damage here. And Frozen still has another chance to pick up Pyro or Consecration off the top then.
Okay, that's true.
So it's 4 outs.
So does that mean it's correct for Pilou to clear the board? So play Spike Rich Steed, it plays around a full board clear because it means he gets something to stick.
You get the Stegodon after the card dies.
And does that mean that Pilou has to trade away everything? And if so, how does he do it? Does he buff?
Trying to see what the best way to go about this
I think
is.
that's right. And then you buff the Cold Light Seer or the Hydrologist. Well, actually, it doesn't matter which minion you buff. You just you put the correct amount of damage and you put one of the one-attack minions in to finish it off.
Put in the 1/1, you hit face for 3, so Frozen goes down to 14. And this is do or die draw time for Frozen. What's he gonna get?
That's not quite a Wild Pyromancer, and it's not quite a Consecration. Frozen has no way of clearing this board. He still has Sunkeeper Tarim. It's the best taunt he's got. Yes, it nerfs that 1-mana Murloc. There is no longer a 1-mana Murloc with 8 attack on Pilou's side of the board. It's now just a 3/3 again. It's just a 1-mana 3/3.
All is well and right with the world here. Tarim is interesting because it has 7 attack instead of 6. So 3 minions from your opponent's board should have to trade into the Tarim, you know, best case scenario. We knew that's not the case. Tidecaller plus Rallying Blade can get through this Tarim, and then Pilou is left with 9. So still a little bit shy.
Now is probably the time, to throw that Murloc Tidecaller away. Sadly, it's definitely done its fair share of work in this matchup for Pilou. And now just pushing that 9 damage in. Frozen down to 5. He can play Tyrion, but Tyrion isn't quite going to be enough. Or is it just enough?
Is there any reason to play Grimscale Chum? I guess there's no reason not to.
So this beats Tyrion. Tyrion gets paid, that's it, but there's the Consecration!
It's still not enough. Because the Stegodon comes out, that's 2 damage, the Rallying Blade is 3, and Frozen doesn't have anything for 2 mana that he can play behind it that would win him the game.
No,
if he could play Hydrologist and a Secret and had Noble Sacrifice, then that could do it, but he would need 9 mana in that case, and if this was Wild Pyromancer, this would be doable.
Frozen almost getting the chance to come back against this board. It didn't happen. He's looking at his outs. Gonna play this Consecration, but if he's done the maths, he knows that leaves exactly 5 damage on the board, plus whatever secret Pilou has. Of course, the secret is a Repentance, so even if Tyrion were to come down, it would end up being a 6/1. And there you go, Frozen concedes to Pilou. Pilou sweeps the series. He is now 3-0 in the DreamHack Atlanta Swiss.
Very impressive from Pilou. Like we said, an unknown in this tournament. Coming in and 3-0 Frozen, former member of Luminosity Gaming, has such an incredible pedigree in Hearthstone. So for Pilou, that's a big win. That's something that, you know, if he continues to do well in this tournament, could potentially put him on the map. And we just saw from DreamHack Valencia, Harry Selden taking the win in that tournament, also coming into it as a big unknown. So one of the stories of this tournament we were gonna see if a pro can come in and take it down, or if it's going to be another top 8 full of underdogs and amateurs that we don't know too much about. Well, Pilou maybe very well just could be one of those people.
It's just one of my favorite things about DreamHack, you know, the fact that it's an open tournament. Yeah, you get all of the famous faces, all of the pro players just through there right near us, talking to each other, playing Hearthstone, but then you also get these people